So, let's just dive right in, shall we? Because I think we're about to kind of mess with your worldview, but in the best way possible. You feel like life is complicated, right? Well, you're not wrong. But what if the rules underneath it all are actually, well, almost laughably simple? And yeah, it's no wonder it feels that way. I mean, we're all juggling careers, money, relationships, and this constant pressure to just be happy. It feels like this giant, tangled knot of decisions and demands, and let's be honest, it can get pretty overwhelming. But here's a thought, and it might bend your brain a little. What if the real problem isn't life itself? What if the problem is our never-ending search for some complicated, secret answer to solve it? What if we're the ones making it so hard? And that brings us to our first big idea. We're going on a hunt for a secret that, it turns out, was never really hidden at all. We've just been looking in all the wrong places. You see, we have this deep-seated bias that complex problems must have complex solutions. Simple answers just feel, well, they feel cheap, don't they? They don't sell $100 courses or get a million clicks, so we ignore them. The search for complexity is the complexity. And this just nails the point perfectly. I mean, think about it. For your health, what's the real advice? Eat a little less, move a little more. For relationships, it really comes down to communicating and actually caring about the other person. And for success, find something valuable and just work at it consistently. But no, we bury these simple truths under crazy diets and 12-step morning routines because the simple answer just doesn't feel like it's enough. Okay, so let's keep building on that because this is where things get really fun and counterintuitive. We're going to look at why your most intense efforts might actually be the very thing that's holding you back. This is something called the backwards law. And it's this weird paradox that the more desperately you chase something, the faster it runs away from you. You know, it's like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it just slips right through your fingers. And you see this everywhere in life, right? Try to force yourself to fall asleep, and you'll just lie there, wide awake, staring at the ceiling. Chase happiness directly, and it's always just over the next hill. Try to make someone love you. Yeah, we all know how that story ends. And any creative person will tell you forcing creativity is the absolute fastest way to kill it. Life just seems to reward a relaxed hand, not a clenched fist. And this gets to the why behind it. There's this concept in psychology called the hedonic treadmill. Basically, your brain has a happiness set point. You could win the lottery, you could have a terrible accident, and yeah, your happiness will spike or dip for a while. But studies show that after a few months, you almost always return to your original baseline. You're running really hard, but you're staying in the exact same emotional place. So the key is to stop playing that game. Instead of chasing the temporary high of achievement or getting more stuff, you switch your focus to pursuing meaning. See, this isn't about getting things. It's about giving your energy to something, to progress, to connection, to helping. And when you do that, something amazing happens. Happiness stops being this thing you have to chase, and it just becomes a natural byproduct of a life well lived. Okay, so if we can't force the outcomes we want, then what in the world are we supposed to do? Well, this next part is all about the practical side of things, shifting our focus from trying to control everything to mastering the one thing we actually can. The ancient Stoics actually figured this out thousands of years ago. Your real power doesn't come from controlling the world around you. It lies right here, in what we call your circle of influence. And what's in that circle? Only two things: your own actions and your own reactions to whatever life decides to throw at you. That's it. Everything else, not your department. And I love this metaphor because it illustrates the two ways you can approach life. You can have the CEO mindset, right? Trying to control the entire ocean, obsessing over every single outcome, constantly fighting reality. Or you can have the surfer mindset. Now, the surfer doesn't try to control the ocean. That's insane. The surfer learns to master their own actions so they can ride the waves that come. They work with reality, not against it. And to be a really effective surfer, you have to know where to put your energy. That's where the 80-20 principle comes in. The idea is that in pretty much every part of your life, a tiny 20% of your efforts will produce a massive 80% of your results. The secret isn't to do more. It's to figure out what that vital 20% is, the key actions, the key relationships, and just double down on them. Now for our final section, and honestly, this might be the most powerful concept of all. This is where we see how the smallest, simplest actions you can possibly imagine can lead to the most extraordinary changes in your life. Look at this number,
3,778%. What on earth is that? Well, that is how much better you would be in 1 year if you just got 1% better at something every single day. It sounds impossible, but it's just simple math. This chart shows the absolutely staggering power of compounding. If you improve by just 1% a day, by the end of the year, you're 37 times better. But, and this is the scary part, look at the other side. If you get 1% worse each day, you skip that one workout, you make that one bad choice, you basically end the year at 0. These tiny, seemingly insignificant choices add up to massive destinies. So the big takeaway here is really clear. Success is not born from some heroic act of willpower. It is not about one big, dramatic moment. It is about the simple, almost boring math of compounding tiny positive actions, day after day after day. It's about building good systems, not just chasing big goals. So, if we boil everything we've talked about down to its essence, here it is. This is the ultimate cheat code for life. Number 1, accept what you cannot control, which is almost everything. Number 2, master what you can control, which is just your actions and your reactions. And number 3, compound tiny improvements every single day. That's the whole game.
And all of this leads to this really profound shift in how you see things. Life isn't this passive journey where you're trying to find yourself, hoping you stumble upon some pre-written destiny. No, it's an active process. It's about creating yourself. You're building who you are with every choice, every habit, every single day. Which leaves us with just one last, very important question for you. Forget the 5-year plans and the overwhelming goals for a minute. What is the one simple 1% action that you are going to start compounding starting today?